Hello, you're watching the Prime Time on Hornbill TV. Let's have a look at the news headlines. 4 female soldiers taken hostage in the October 7, 2023 incursion into southern Israel by fighters belonging to the Palestinian militant group Hamas in Gaza have won back their freedom. Russian President Vladimir Putin claimed on Friday that the crisis in Ukraine might have been prevented if US President Donald Trump was in power at the time, saying he was ready to talk with him about the conflict. The White House on Friday announced the start of large-scale deportation operations, stating that President Trump is keeping his promise to take strong action against illegal immigration. The Mahakumbh 2025 in Prayagraj has seen an unprecedented influx of devotees, with a massive 10.80 crore plus taking the sacred plunge at the revered Ganga-Yamuna-Saraswati confluence as of Friday. The United States Supreme Court has approved the extradition of Mumbai attack convict Tahur Rana to India after dismissing his petition against the move. Let's have a look at the news in detail. 4 female soldiers taken hostage in the October 7, 2023 incursion into southern Israel by fighters belonging to the Palestinian militant group Hamas in Gaza have won back their freedom. Liri Albag, 19-year-old, Karina Arif, 20-year-old, Daniela Gilboa, 20, and Nama Levy, 20-year-old, were handed over to representatives of the International Committee of the Red Cross in Gaza on Saturday morning and then transferred to an Israeli convoy to be driven across the border into Israel, the Israeli military said. A short while later, the Israeli military said the hostages had crossed into Israel. The handover to the Red Cross took place on Palestine Square in Gaza City in a Hamas-run military-style ceremony. Phalanxes of the armed fighters in uniform, wearing black balaclavas and signature green headbands, were arrayed around the square. Spectators clambered on rubble and wrecked vehicles to get a look, waving Palestinian and Hamas flags. The Hamas-organized event was in sharp contrast to the first handover of hostages last Sunday, when 3 Israeli civilian women were released amidst an unruly crowd. The 4 young women, who were in their pajamas when they were taken captive 476 days ago, were paraded in soldiers' uniforms onto a stage at the head of the square in Gaza City. Behind them, banners with slogans condemned Israel. During a brief appearance, 2 hostages held each other's hands. Some smiled and waved, raising their arms and giving a thumbs up in the front of the crowd. The proceeding was broadcast live, including on Israeli television. The women were freed as part of a deal mediated by the US, Qatar and Egypt, which brought about a 6-week ceasefire that began last Sunday after more than 15 months of war in Gaza. It went ahead despite anger in Israel that Hamas still held civilians despite agreeing in the ceasefire deal to release them before soldiers. So far, 7 Israelis, all women, have been released from Hamas's captivity as part of the ceasefire agreement. Israel, in exchange, has said it will release around 1,900 Palestinian prisoners and detainees during this first phase of the ceasefire deal, with 90 released last week and around another 200 or so expected to be let go later Saturday. Hamas still holds 90 hostages. Most were seized in the 2023 attack, though several were captured nearly a decade ago. Hamas has promised to release another 26 hostages in the coming weeks, each in exchange for upwards of 30 Palestinian prisoners. The 4 women released on Saturday were serving as field observers in Unit 414 of the Field Intelligence Battalion when Hamas militants stormed their base on the border with Gaza and set it on fire. The White House on Friday announced the start of large-scale deportation operations, stating that President Trump is keeping his promise to take strong action against illegal immigration. In a post on X, while the White House emphasized that those entering the United States illegally will face serious consequences, earlier, White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt announced the commencement of large-scale deportation operations, stating that 538 illegal immigrant criminals, including a suspected terrorist, 4 members of the Tren de Aragua gang, and several individuals convicted of sex crimes against minors have been arrested. Leavitt also said that hundreds have already been deported via military aircraft, calling it the largest massive deportation operation in U.S. history. Meanwhile, India has also reiterated its stance against illegal immigration, with the Ministry of External Affairs stating that it will facilitate the return of Indian nationals overstaying or residing without proper documentation in the United States or anywhere in the world. We are against illegal immigration, especially because it is linked to several forms of organized crime, MEA spokesperson Randhir Jaiswal said in a press briefing on Friday.
Number of Indians, etc. See, India, we have made this clear earlier as well. We are against illegal immigration, especially because it is linked to several forms of organized crime. For Indians, not just in the United States, but anywhere in the world, if they are Indian nationals and they are overstaying or they are in a particular country without proper documentation, we will take them back, provided documents are shared with us so that we can verify their nationality, that they are indeed Indians. If that happens to be the case, then we will take things forward. We'll facilitate the return to India. Now, the question you talked about numbers, at this point in time, any talk about numbers is premature.
Russian President Vladimir Putin claimed on Friday that the crisis in Ukraine might have been prevented if US President Donald Trump was in power at the time, saying he was ready to talk with him about the conflict. Notably, Trump has long claimed that the war in Ukraine would not have happened under his watch. But on Friday, Putin suggested the same thing, while also repeating Trump's allegation that the 2020 US election was stolen. Putin told a Russian TV channel that he can't help but agree with Trump that if his victory had not been stolen in 2020, then maybe there would not have been the crisis in Ukraine that arose in 2022. The Russian president further affirmed that Moscow has always been ready for negotiations on the Ukraine issue. A day earlier, the Kremlin said it was waiting on signals from Washington. Trump has said in the past that he would end the war in Ukraine in one day, but later gave his special envoy for Ukraine and Russia, Keith Kellogg, 100 days to find a solution. Trump's new administration has so far not unveiled any concrete plans for how to achieve peace in Ukraine, but Trump said that this week Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky had told him he wants to make a deal and suggested Putin should also want to find a solution.
If he had been the president, if the victory wasn't stolen from him in 2020, maybe the Ukrainian crisis that arose in 2022 would have never.
We'll be right back after a short break.
तेरह जनवरी पौष पूर्णिमा से 26 फरवरी महाशिवरात्रि तक महाकुंभ 2025 का साक्षी बन रहा है प्रयागराज का संगम तट। 45 दिनों तक चलने वाले पृथ्वी के सबसे बड़े मानव समागम में करोड़ों श्रद्धालु पुण्य की डुबकी लगाकर बन रहे हैं सांस्कृतिक एकता के सहभागी। यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी के मार्गदर्शन और माननीय मुख्यमंत्री योगी आदित्यनाथ के कुशल नेतृत्व से महाकुंभ बना है दिव्य, भव्य, डिजिटल। कुंभ सहायक चैटबॉट ने 11 भाषाओं में हर सेवा की जानकारी देकर एकता के महासंगम को बनाया है स्वच्छ, सुरक्षित, सुव्यवस्थित। नए घाट, रिवर फ्रंट रोड, पांटून पुल, फ्लाईओवर, चमचमाती सड़कें, पार्किंग, हजारों बस और ट्रेन, नवीन एयरपोर्ट टर्मिनल, आधुनिक टेंट सिटी जैसी सुविधाओं से पुण्य स्नान हुआ है आसान। महाकुंभ का है अटल संदेश, एकजुट हो अपना देश।
Welcome back after the break. Let's continue with the news. The Mahakumbh 2025 in Prayagraj has seen an unprecedented influx of devotees, with a massive 10.80 crore plus taking the sacred plunge at the revered Ganga-Yamuna-Saraswati confluence. The Uttar Pradesh government quoted the Chief Minister's statement on the significant milestone achieved. Despite cold conditions, a large congregation of devotees gathered at the Triveni Sangam in Prayagraj to take a dip in the ongoing Mahakumbh. Apart from this, authorities are focusing on preparations for the upcoming Mauni Amavasya on January 29, anticipating large crowds of devotees. Visitors from around the world are often left in awe as they witness people from different languages, lifestyles and traditions coming together at the Sangam for a holy dip. Several devotees from Russia and Ukraine, two countries embroiled in deadly conflict for close to 3 years, attended the Mahakumbh Mela 2025 in Prayagraj and presented a message of spiritual unity. The atmosphere in Prayagraj turned sublime as devotees in the cold winter evening gathered to perform kirtan and sang Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. The Mahakumbh is held after every 12 years and a huge turnout of devotees is expected in Prayagraj from January 13th to February 26th. According to tradition, pilgrims flock to the Sangam, the confluence of the Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati rivers, to take the holy dip believed to absolve sins and grant moksha. Rooted in Sanatan Dharma, the event signifies a celestial alignment that creates an auspicious period for spiritual cleansing and devotion. The Mahakumbh Mela is expected to host over 45 crore visitors, marking a historic occasion for India. In a significant development, India and Indonesia have exchanged multiple MOUs at the Hyderabad House in Delhi on Saturday, marking a major step in strengthening their bilateral ties. The ceremony was held in the presence of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto, who is currently on a state visit to India. Prime Minister Modi welcomed President Subianto, recalling the long-standing friendship between the two nations. Indonesia was the chief guest country on India's first Republic Day, and it is a matter of great pride for us that we celebrate 75 years of the Republic. Indonesia is once again part of this historic occasion. The bilateral discussions, which covered various areas of cooperation, focused significantly on defense and strategic partnerships. Prime Minister Modi emphasized the evolving relationship, noting, "During his visit to Indonesia in 2018, we took our partnership forward in a form of comprehensive strategic partnership. Today, there was a comprehensive discussion with President Prabowo on various aspects of mutual cooperation."
भारत के पहले गणतंत्र दिवस पर इंडोनेशिया हमारा मुख्य अतिथि देश था और यह हमारे लिए अत्यंत गर्व का विषय है कि जब हम गणतंत्र के 75 वर्ष मना रहे हैं, इंडोनेशिया एक बार फिर इस ऐतिहासिक अवसर का हिस्सा बना है। इस अवसर मैं राष्ट्रपति प्रभो उसका भारत में हार्दिक स्वागत करता हूं। साथियों, 2018 में मेरी इंडोनेशिया यात्रा के दौरान हमने अपने साझेदारी को कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप के रूप में आगे बढ़ाया था। आज राष्ट्रपति प्रबोवो के साथ आपसी सहयोग के विभिन्न पहलुओं पर व्यापक चर्चा हुई। रक्षा क्षेत्र में सहयोग बढ़ाने के लिए हमने तय किया है कि डिफेंस मैन्युफैक्चरिंग और सप्लाई चेन में साथ काम किया जाएगा। हमने मैरीटाइम सिक्योरिटी, साइबर सिक्योरिटी, काउंटर टेररिज्म और डी रेडिकलाइजेशन में सहयोग पर भी बल दिया है। आज मैरीटाइम सेफ्टी और सिक्योरिटी में हुए समझौते से क्राइम प्रिवेंशन, सर्च एंड रेस्क्यू और कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग में हमारा सहयोग और मजबूत होगा। पिछले कुछ वर्षों में हमारी द्विपक्षीय व्यापार में तेजी आई है और पिछले वर्ष यह $30 बिलियन से अधिक हो गया है।
Meanwhile, Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto, on his first state visit to India, expressed his heartfelt gratitude for the warm reception and the honor extended to him during his trip. Speaking at a joint press conference after his discussions with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, President Subianto emphasized the deepening partnership between the two nations. Subianto highlighted that their discussions spanned several key sectors of mutual interests, with a focus on enhancing cooperation in the economic field, and said that they discussed many key sectors of common interest in which they would like to accelerate the level of cooperation in the economic field.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi, my good brother, esteemed ministers, high officials from Indonesia and from India, friends from the media, once again, namaste. I would like to reiterate my highest gratitude for the great honor given to me being received today in my first state visit to India. I was received with great honor today by the President of India, and we had a very intensive, very frank discussion between Prime Minister Modi and his government and myself and my government team. We discussed many key sectors of common interest in which we would like to accelerate the level of cooperation. Of course, in the economic field, this is very important, and I have given direction to my team to accelerate, to expedite, to cut bureaucracy, too much over-regulation, and to put at the foremost the common bilateral interest of India and of Indonesia.
We'll be right back after a short break.
अपनी स्थापना के रजत जयंती वर्ष में प्रवेश कर चुके युवा राज्य उत्तराखंड 38वें राष्ट्रीय खेलों के सफल आयोजन की बड़ी जिम्मेदारी निभाने के लिए पूरी तरह तैयार है। प्रदेश के मुख्यमंत्री श्री पुष्कर सिंह धामी के आग्रह को स्वीकार करते हुए भारतीय ओलंपिक संघ ने योग और मलखंभ जैसे 2 पारंपरिक खेलों को भी राष्ट्रीय खेल का हिस्सा बना दिया है। हाल ही में राजधानी देहरादून में आयोजित एक भव्य कार्यक्रम में मुख्यमंत्री ने 38वें राष्ट्रीय खेलों के शुभंकर प्रतीक, मौली, लोगो, जर्सी, एंथम और टैगलाइन का अनावरण किया। इस अवसर पर उत्तराखंड में राष्ट्रीय खेलों के लिए टैगलाइन संकल्प से शिखर तक घोषित की गई।
मैं देवभूमि उत्तराखंड के सभी लोगों की तरफ से आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का धन्यवाद प्रदान करता हूं।
28 जनवरी से 14 फरवरी 2025 तक चलने वाले राष्ट्रीय खेलों का सुंदर लोगो और शुभंकर मौली दोनों ही उत्तराखंड के राजकीय पक्षी मोनाल से प्रेरित है, जो प्रदेश की विशिष्टता को प्रदर्शित करने के साथ उत्तराखंड की प्राकृतिक सुंदरता और विविधता के रंगों को भारत के प्रत्येक कोने तक पहुंचाएगा।
उत्तराखंड को बधाई देना चाहता हूं, जो इन खेलों का आयोजन कर रहे हैं। उत्तराखंड ने इस आयोजन को एक नया रूप और दृष्टिकोण दिया है।
राष्ट्रीय व अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर पदक लाने वाले खिलाड़ियों को सरकारी नौकरी देने के साथ साथ प्रदेश में नई खेल नीति लागू कर विभिन्न माध्यमों से राज्य में खेल और खिलाड़ियों को लगातार प्रोत्साहित कर रही है उत्तराखंड सरकार। उत्तराखंड में 38वें राष्ट्रीय खेलों के भव्य आयोजन में आपका स्वागत है।
Welcome back after the break. Let's continue with the news. The Western Railway has initiated a 3-day jumbo block on 24th, 25th and 26th of this month. The mega block commenced at 11 p.m. last night with plans to extend until 8:30 a.m. each morning. While the block is primarily scheduled for nighttime hours to minimize disruption, it unfortunately caused significant inconvenience for passengers traveling between 5:30 a.m. and 6:45 a.m. Many commuters were affected by delays and service interruptions during this early morning period, highlighting the challenges posed by the necessary maintenance and upgrades being conducted on the railway. Efforts are being made to complete the work efficiently and restore normal service as quickly as possible. This block was taken for the construction of a bridge between Bandra and Mahakumbh. Currently, Western Railway has resumed normal operations. This will lead to repercussions on several long-distance trains. Additionally, during the work, services between Church Gate and Dadar will be operated on the fast lines. On Saturday night and Sunday morning, both slow and fast services originating from Virar, Nalla Sopara, Vasai Road, Bhayandar and Borivali will run up to Andheri. Some western and central railway services between Goregaon and Bandra will be diverted to the harbour lines. Approximately 150 suburban services will be cancelled and 90 services will partially be cancelled on Saturday and Sunday. Containment zone and Section 144 was imposed in the Badhal village of Rajouri district on Saturday due to the outbreak of an unidentified illness that has claimed 17 lives. District administration authorities have established checkpoints on all routes leading to the village and have been providing facilities from ration to drinking water. Additionally, restrictions were imposed on public and private gatherings to prevent the spread of the mysterious disease. Medical teams have also been deployed to the villages to provide treatment and conduct tests in order to identify the cause of the illness. A central team of experts have been investigating the cause of the deaths, and over 200 samples have been sent for testing to different institutes. Security checks are being conducted to allow any individual to enter the restricted areas. A pharmacist, while speaking to ANI, said that the paramedics and nurses had been working continuously to make sure the situation did not worsen. Rajouri's Government Medical College in Jammu and Kashmir is also being strengthened to combat the disease. The government's health department has provided 5 child specialists and 5 anesthesia specialists to GMC Rajouri. Principal GMC Rajouri, Dr. A.S. Bhatia, confirmed that all types of advanced technology are in place to handle any emergency situations. Additionally, advanced care ambulances are ready at the hospital. Currently, 6 patients from Budhal village are under treatment at GMC Hospital Rajouri and are recovering. MLA Budhal Javed Iqbal has appealed to the union government to provide air ambulances for any emergency situations, enabling the airlifting of patients. The unidentified illness has been reported with symptoms including fever, sweating, vomiting, dehydration and episodic loss of consciousness. Despite initial tests, no bacterial or viral infections have been detected. That is all we have for now. For more news and the latest updates, keep watching Hornbill TV.